All right, welcome back, everybody. Here we go, week 14, last week before the playoffs start. Positions 1 through 8 are all up for grabs. We don't know where anybody's going to finish, other than Jeremy finishing in 12th. Everything else is literally could go any which direction. So, which is pretty exciting. We haven't had that in a long time. Normally, kind of like the last week is more or less the kind of the top guys figuring out where they're going to go. So we'll see. Um, as I said, sorry, just blanked. Okay, so I'm going to go through the standings today. I will go kind of like explain roughly who can get where. I'll go through myself, Rob, Jen, and Sunil, each situation that would allow them to get into the playoffs. So I'll kind of talk through them. I'll have it posted on the split screen so you can kind of read along. I was kind of just figuring out my own just to kind of see what I needed. And then because Jen and Sunil technically have more points for than both Rob and I, it actually made it even a little bit more difficult. So I figured all that out, what we all need. Some of it's easier than others, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how it plays out. Especially since Sunil and I play each other. That's kind of the big one in there. So one of us is guaranteed to win. So yeah, I guess I'll kind of get started on all that. All right, okay. So for the standings, as you can see here, we have the top 7 teams have already qualified for the playoffs, with the last spot up for grabs. So currently we have at 9 wins both Ty and Tom. As you see, Ty does have quite a large points for difference there at 103 points. So if they both win, then Ty most likely will end up in first. But if Ty loses, Tom wins, and Tom can get first place. And then if they both lose, well, then who knows what's going to happen. So I did write it down, but I think I got rid of it already. Yeah, so Tom is playing Rob, so that's a big one for me. So it's a little bit, second place versus ninth. We have Ty is playing Wayne, so that's interesting. If Wayne wins, then both those guys will be at 9 and 5, so that's a big one there. So we'll see how it goes for each of them. Tom's got a little bit of an easier matchup in terms of the standings, but hey, you never know. Yeah. Then we get into the next group. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams tied at 8 and 5. So we have Dave, then Dallas, Wayne, Evil Buddies, and then Richard down in 7th. Richard's got a little bit of a disadvantage due to his points 4. So if he wins, most likely he'll be at the bottom of the 9 and 5 group. But if he loses, then he's most likely going to be at the bottom of the 8 and 6 group. So we'll see how that works for him. Dave has a bit of advantage. He does have the most points for this season. He's got about a 40-point lead on Ty on that. So depending on if Ty loses and doesn't put up a lot of points and Dave wins, Dave could leapfrog Ty and move into second or first place, depending on how Tom does. So and then in their matchups here, we do have Dallas plays Richard, so both teams are 8 and 5. So at least one of those teams will go to 9 wins. One of them will fall. And that's kind of it in terms of who plays each other's in that mix. Evil Buddies plays Jeremy. So again, standings wise, it looks like he's got a bit of an advantage there. And then, like I said, Dallas plays Richard, Ty and Wayne. So that's a big one there for the standings. And then the last matchup is Jen and Dave. Okay, so now to the fun stuff. So I'm going to slowly read through it. It's confusing. For the most part, it's straightforward, but it's just kind of the numbers. So follow along on the side here, and we'll see. So for this last and final 8th spot, currently, because I have roughly 73 more points than Rob, I have the tiebreaker against him. But Jen and Sunil are both one win less. So as I said, if I lose, then Sunil wins. So he'll be tied with the same record. And then, as I mentioned, Jen plays Dave, and Dave's our points 4 leader, so that'll be a tough matchup for her. So if she wins, she would be 5-8 and she's got like 70 more points than the next closest person. So Jen would have the advantage in that sense. If her and Sunil win, so that would be good for her. But if the 3 of us lose and Sunil could get in, so it's all over the map here. So just to make it easy, I thought I would post it on the screen here. You guys can read through it as we go. So for myself, the easiest way for me to get in is I win and Rob loses. Once that happens, it doesn't matter about Jen and Sunil. That gets me the 8th and final spot. The second scenario would be if both Rob and I win. As long as I keep my points 4 differential, then I will stay in 8th place. Rob would have to outscore me there by 73.82 points. Otherwise, he would then take over. The next scenario here is if I lose, if Rob loses, and if Jen loses, I would need Sunil to beat me by less than 23.6 points to keep my spot. So I have a slight point for advantage over Sunil by 23.6. So if he beats me, as long as he doesn't beat me by that many points, I have a chance to get in. And then the next scenario is, again, if I lose, which would mean Sunil wins, Rob loses, I would have to outscore Jen's points by 70.44, as well as have Sunil not beat me by more than 23.6 points. So I basically need Jen to crap the bed, win or lose, and then it'll be a close game between me and Sunil. So best thing for me is just straight up win. I have a pretty good lead on Rob on points 4, so hopefully that sneaks me into the playoffs. But if I lose, then I'm going to need some help. So we'll see how that breaks down. For Rob's easiest way to get in the playoffs is if he wins and I lose. Then he moves to 6 wins. Nobody else can catch him. So that would be the easiest for him. So then the next one is the reverse of mine. So if he wins and I win, he needs to outscore me by 73.83 points. So say I score 150 points, then Rob's got to score like 223 points, 23.83 points just to make the playoffs. So, and then here's where it gets fun again. So if Rob loses, he would need Jen to lose. He would have to outscore me in both of our losses by 73.83 points, but he would also have to outscore Sunil by 49.9 points because Sunil would win and be tied with Rob in points 4. So again, so if Rob loses in this scenario, Jen would have to lose. I lose. Rob would have to outscore me by 73.83 points. As well, he would have to outscore Sunil's final points total by 49.9 points. So that one gets a little tricky. But again, that's where the points 4 come into play. And then the last one is definitely the situation that Rob doesn't want. So if Rob loses and I lose, which would mean Sunil wins, so again, he'd have to outscore Sunil by 49.9 points. But if Jen wins, because of her points 4, Rob would somehow also have to outscore Jen by 144.25 points. So if Jen wins, basically Rob won't make the playoffs. Basically, because that would mean Jen would have to score like 30 points for an opportunity. So, so those are his 4 opportunities or chances to get in. Jen has only one option, and the reason is, again, because I'm playing Sunil, which is what makes it a little bit tricky for her. So for Jen to make the playoff, she has to win. She needs myself and Rob to lose. And in those losses, I can't score more than 70.44 points more than her. Rob can't outscore her by 144 points in his loss, which is going to be pretty difficult. And then because Sunil wins, she can't have Sunil outscore her by 94.05 points. So for Jen to get in, she needs to win, and then that's pretty much it. And then have Rob and myself lose, and then, I mean, for Sunil to outscore Jen by 100 points if Jen wins would be really hard. I mean, he'd have to put up almost like 250 points. Rob's probably looking at 300 points, right? In a loss kind of thing, right? So it's kind of a little difficult. So for Jen, she just needs to win and have me and Rob lose. And then she's in the playoffs. For Sunil, his again comes down to Jen. Because he has more points for than Rob and I. So Sunil needs to beat me by 23.61 points and have Rob lose and not score more than 49.9 points than Sunil, and Jen lose. So I'm going to say that one again. So Sunil needs to beat me. So that would be him win, me lose, but he's got to beat me by more than that 23.61 points. He needs Rob to lose, and in Rob's loss, not score more than 49.9 points than Sunil. So again, if Sunil puts up, say, 150, Rob can't lose and put up 200, and then Jen loses. So that one, it's probably Sunil's best way to get in. He's got to win, can't have Rob outscore him by more than 50 points in a loss, and then Jen just loses. The other one is if Jen wins, so Sunil again still has to outscore me by 23.6 points. If Rob loses, he needs Rob to not outscore him by the 49.9 points. And if Jen wins, now Sunil would have to outscore Jen by 94 points. So again, if he put up 150, Jen would only be able to put up 50 points in a win. So it's going to get a little tricky there for Sunil if Jen wins. So the first one on the screen there is probably his best and easiest option. So lots of confusing. The easiest thing for me to do is win, but playing Sunil, our records are close, our points fours are close. So he only beat me by 0.01 last time. So it's going to be a close matchup, or maybe it won't be. Wait and see. So now that I've gone through all that, talked a lot, you're probably all bored of me anyway. So I'll move into our matchups. I took the screenshots a few hours before I did this video, so some of the players I talk about might be different. It is Thursday, so maybe some people switch some guys around since I took the screenshots. So wait and see. First matchup, as always, is mine. So it's mine versus Sunil, which one of the most important matchups of the week for us lower tier guys. Currently, he is favored. Looking at my matchups, I got Hunt, who's questionable. He's got Watson, who's questionable. Well, we'll see that Hunt and Ford. When I had Chubb in there before and he got injured and Ford came in and stole all the points, maybe I can get Hunt to steal some points away from Ford to help me. Justin Jefferson's back, so that might lower Hawkinson a little bit. The Dak show is rolling, so maybe Cooks does well this week. For me, I lost Lawrence. I think he might play. I don't know if I'm comfortable playing him, although Denver's played well, so Herbert might struggle. Chase could have put up some points this week against Indy. Drake London was terrible last week. Ridley, we'll see how they do, if it's Lawrence or Beathard, I believe. And on the bench, I don't really have anybody else I could put in. I might throw Singletary over Pierce, but we'll wait and see what the reports are. And then Sunil, I guess if he wants to throw in Miles Sanders, or he's got Aaron Jones, who's questionable in the IR spot, so maybe Aaron Jones is back this week. Doesn't really say. So we'll see. I don't know much about Aaron Jones and his injury, so we'll see how that plays out. So if he sneaks in for Sunil, that'll give him a little bit more points and projections. My team looks very sparse this week. I actually think Sunil's going to win. I'm hoping it's close, so I have a chance to get into the playoffs, but I do think Sunil will win this week. Next matchup here is the Evil Buddies, Jay and Adam versus Jeremy. Jeremy's team has got Stevenson out on here, so he's going to have to swap him out. So that's an extra 12 points. He's still pretty down in the projection. Yeah, I mean, the Buddies are 8-5 for a reason. Ayuk, Wilson, Devonta Smith, White for Tampa Bay has been just so consistent. As I told you, the snow has fallen, so Derrick Henry puts up all the numbers. Achan's back. Madison might take a hit with Justin Jefferson back. Love has been a bit of a surprise with the Packers rolling right now. Rice for KC's looking good. Brees Hall struggling a bit, but we'll see. Olave, hard to tell. So I'm going to give this one to the Buddies. Like I said, they're 8-5 for a reason. Jeremy is 2-11. I think the Buddies are going to pull this off. The next one is the next most important one to me. It's Tom versus Rob. Tom is 9-4 versus Rob, who's 5-8. Yeah, just look at it quickly. 2 high-profile quarterbacks, good receivers. Yeah, Rob's team is looking really good. Excuse me, I keep hiccuping here. Yeah, I don't know about Palmer and Beckham on Rob's team, but you never know. All it takes is a touchdown, a couple receptions, and for some yards. It's easy. Goddard's playing. But yeah, Tom's team's won like 4 in a row, so I think he'll keep it going, or at least I'm hoping so. And I will take Tom for the win. All right, this is probably one of the most important matchups for the teams at the top. We got Dallas versus Richard. Both teams are 8-5. Dallas is near the top of the group in points for, and Richard, as I mentioned, is towards the bottom of that group. So, quickly looking here right now, Dallas is favored by about 26 points. Richard's got a bunch of bye this week, so that doesn't help him out. I know Dallas had his byes last week and still beat me. I'm going to give this one to Dallas. I just think overall better lineup. Richard's got some guys in there like Chandler and Johnson for Jacksonville. But yeah, I think just because Richard's getting hit with a couple byes this week, it's going to hurt him. Richard will lose. Dallas will win. If you go to 9 wins, Richard will fall to 8-6 and probably end up in 7th place, is my guess. All right. Another important matchup, especially to tie. This could be the difference of 1st versus 3rd place, maybe 2nd place. We'll see how the points for and the records fall. I mean, this could be our first year with not a 10-win team. How crazy would that be? 9-5 would be the best record? Whew, interesting. Wow, off the hop, we got battle of some high-powered quarterbacks. Ty gets Jefferson back. Mike Evans has been completely solid all season. Let's see. He's got Williams and Moss. Maybe he slides Shaheed in there, but I don't know what he would do for his receivers. Like I would move Keenan I would take out Jameson Williams. I know he's got potential, but I mean, you got Pittman and Downs who are better. I just don't know about his running back here, this guy for Green Bay, but maybe he knows better. Maybe he's throwing Walker before we get there on the weekend, which would bump him up by another 12-ish points, make it a little tighter. For the sake of the standings and for the sake of fun, I'm going to call Wayne is going to win. I think he's going to switch out the running back here, which will make it closer, maybe change some receivers around, which will give him a little higher projected, I think a little closer to tie, but at the end of the day, Wayne will win. And last and certainly not least, we have Dave and Jen. This is big for Dave. This could vault him into first place if he wins and Tom and Ty loses. Maybe in second, maybe still in third. As I said, Jen's only got one scenario and it involves her winning. Anything else and she can't get in. So for her, this is huge. She's out projected by about 22 points. I mean, Dave's our point leader. He's rolling. There'd have to be some big defense in a couple of his games here, but I just don't see it. Higgins, I know he's back from injury, but I don't know. There's no Burrow there. I'm hoping Chase gets all the catches instead. Quentin Johnson has been a bit of a letdown this year. Godwin, so-so. Noah Brown, you never know what week he's playing. Mostert's our touchdown leader this year for rushing, so that's new. DJ Moore at Chicago against Detroit. Maybe he'll get some points there, but I just don't think it's enough to overtake, Hill, Debo, Cortland Sutton, Pollard, Kamara. Yeah, so that's what I think. So again, I think Dave will win. So running through, I think Sunil will win. I hope it's close. We'll wait and see. I need it to be close if I lose. The buddies, I think, are going to win. I think Tom's going to win and take first place overall. I think Dallas will beat Richard, so Dallas will move up into maybe third or fourth. I don't know how that'll play out. I don't have the points for in front of me. I think Ty will lose to Wayne, which will be fun to see how that works out in the standings. And then I think Dave will win. So I think Tom might be our only 10-win team is my guess, but we'll see. Yeah, I think the only one I got wrong last week was mine. Hey, so we'll see. So like I said, the playoffs will be interesting. There'll be 4 of us cheering hard to get in. Unless you don't want to get in and you want first overall. I don't know. It's always more fun in the playoffs because you never know what happens that first week. Maybe get lucky, maybe pull off the upset, and then, hey, then you're 25% chance of not winning money. So all you need is that first win. So we've never talked about it after raising the funds. So it still goes just the money to first, second, and third after the playoffs are done. I don't have it in front of me. What the new payout is. It's in the email from last year, so I'll just do the same as what I did last year. Speaking of last year, hopefully there's no controversy of games not finishing, not being played, not counting, not any of that. We also didn't talk about that this year and how that would play out if anything like that happened. Again, so we'll see. I'm hoping for it because that would break me again. I didn't know what to do. I'm not going through the explanation again, but hopefully we don't have that scenario. Video is way longer than I expected. I'm getting close to 25 minutes. Hoping for a Dobbs rebound this week. Tom, have fun in Vegas while you're watching the game. And we'll talk to you all next week. All right, talk to you later, guys. Bye.